Life is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been showing that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family, and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a chemo buddy for life.
We are a buddies network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are chemo buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma is so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti, and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school. No easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running. 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who, without Mrs. B, might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
good morning, and good morning. How is everybody doing? Can you believe it's Thursday? It seems like these weeks just keep going by. Just keep going by. Well, I am Barbara Beckley, and this is the Diamond Factor Experience Show with Barbara Beckley and special experts and guests. I always put that little extra because, as I always say, and I'm going to keep saying this, it takes a team to get stuff done in life. It really takes a team, be it if it's at your job, if you're doing a certain project, just in your personal life, if you're trying to do something at home. It might take more than one or two people. So you always want to uplift and let people know, hey, I appreciate you for being on the team. I appreciate you for helping me with the goal that I'm trying to complete. And then also, hopefully, that gets you to completing yours in some kind of way of a goal that they have as well, because in a team I always say it's just shouldn't always be about you. Somewhere down the line, some of the team members or so should be learning, gaining something, getting some value out of it. So that's my little inkling on teams. So I want to go right into the I always try to give some positive, a quote. So I want to go right into this one. I said this the other day, and I thought this was something needed today too. It's I always, like I said, I pick things that are going to hopefully resonate with you, to get you to like say, yeah, I gotta do this, or yeah, I'm awesome, I'm amazing, which you all are. And I always remind you of that. So this is one that I really love. It starts off with, take command of your life. Take command of your life. Feel what's needed to be done in your life, and more importantly, do it. Do it. At times, life will lead you to a crossroads where you will have to make a choice. Yes. It will be a perfect crossroad with two paths. One path always leads to the light, while the other, although not necessarily bad, is filled with turmoil. You may not have time to think, you must make a decision. To do this, practice daily by doing what's needed to be done in your life now. Do not put things off until Monday, for if you do, tomorrow will never come. Take command of your life, so when the life leads you to a crossroad, your choice will be clear. Take command of your life. Enjoy your day. That's nice. Enjoy your day. So yeah, let's take command of our life. Let's make sure that the things that we're choosing, or has been chosen, is going toward the results and goals that you need overall. Don't let other people predict where you should be going or tell you where you should be going, because they don't know what kind of goals you have. They don't know what the dreams you have. They don't know what gifts you might have that need to lead you to another path. It's so easy for somebody to tell somebody, well, maybe you shouldn't do that, or maybe you shouldn't go that route, or maybe that's a bad way of, you got to do what's best for you. You have to make it where it says, okay, I'm going to make this decision, and this is one that I need to make it for myself. Now, sometimes, people say, well, that might be like a selfish type of thing. No, it's not. You have to be selfish, because if you're trying to move yourself to another level in life, okay, you have to make sure that you're doing the things strategically to get there. When you have other people, chiming in saying, well, maybe that's too hard for you, or this and that. Okay, why can't I try? I'm always telling people, the worst thing, the failure of everything, is when you don't even try to do it. If you don't even take the attempt to do something that maybe is going to move you from the left on those needles in your life. So you want to make sure that, you're doing that for yourself, so you don't have to feel any regrets. I always tell people, I don't want to feel any regrets. So if I need to, take that extra step, or learn that extra skill, or ask that question to somebody so I can move forward in what I need to do, then I'm going to do that, because I'm trying to get to another place with me. And it has to be the same for you. You have to feel comfortable in what you just choose. Now, sometimes I know we don't have total control over some things. Some things we have no control over. So what do? You're going to have to tell yourself, you know what, I don't really have control over this. So I got to make it the best way I can to make me feel good here. Remember, I'm always talking about your PPD, your purpose, passion, and drive. You have to feel that has to stay there because things will happen where it might not go the way you want to. Just like I said, some things, some paths you might choose might be turmoil, might be like this, you know, tsunami of craziness, of drama. But you have to tell yourself, you know what? I know where I want to go. I have to still keep my sanity, keep me in check, so I don't have to lose what I'm trying to do. And that's what's so important, that we have to make sure that we do that for ourselves. So just sometimes you got to do a self-talk, a self-audit of yourself and say, look, I need to make sure that I'm taking control of what's going on. When somebody else starts taking control of your own ship, first of all, if for you to give them permission to do it. I mean, when I say permission to take over your ship, is if somebody's teaching you and learning you the path that you're trying to go to. Yeah, it's okay for them to do that. I mean, because you're giving them permission. But if you didn't give nobody permission to take over and control what you're trying to do, then that's a problem. Because some people would like to take over what you're doing, and they might go a different way, which you weren't trying to go that way. So you have to make sure. That's why it's so important that you have certain people in your life, certain people that you're, with like-minded people that's with you. That's people that's going that same route. You need a negativity or people that are jealous or, conniving. You don't need all that. Life is too short for that. Time is too short for that. We need to make sure that we're on the straight path and the people that are around us is really honing in and giving you that extra. So we're going to start this. Well, the show already started a long time ago, but I will start it with the intro and then we'll be right back.
Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running. 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because it's just, she just all makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who without Mrs. B might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
This is the reason why I do what I do, is because of Yolanda and all
We are back. So now I have some other goodies for you. So today, we have Miss Laura Armstrong that's going to be coming on in a minute here. But I wanted I want to kind of give some, like I said, some motivation, because a lot of times, we're dealing with, we've been dealing with the pandemic, and now we're kind of slowly getting out of that. Some people are getting their vaccine. I mean, I've been vaccinated, and I know a lot of other people have, so we can kind of, hopefully get back to a certain amount of, getting out there to at least see each other without the mask, or do some type of thing. And I noticed people are slowly surely getting together. I just want to say, this is just my disclaimer on that, and that please still be cautious. Please still be cautious, because there's still a lot of people that still haven't got a vaccine, and you just got to make sure that we're all being safe for each other. And that's a team right there in the whole world of being a team, is making sure that, you are doing your due diligence and making sure people safe. So if you got vaccine and you don't know for a fact that anybody else around you got vaccinated or what have you, then you got to you still got to kind of wear that mask. You got to stay your distance to a certain point, because there is still a mixture right now. There's still a mixture. But okay, I want to give you I found another goodie here. And this is talking about, allowing yourself to feel. Allowing yourself to feel. Always allow yourself to feel. Being able to feel is one of the most precious gifts God has bestowed upon you. Many of you refuse to use it. You refuse to feel, trying to hide how you feel. Now, I used to be that way. I really did, because I feel like I was a burden if I started telling my feelings or getting all into, I'm dealing with this and all that. So I thought I was a burden to people. So I would kind of like say, you know what? I'm going to not say nothing right now. I'm just going to just, do what I do. Your life experiences teaches you lessons when you feel the truths they are teaching to you. You are what you feel, think about, and you are what you love to do. For your light to shine, you must accept your feelings and work through them, allowing yourself to face the truth. This is some deep, gotta dig deep, Today, allow yourself to feel and practice accepting your feelings as you share these special feelings with your loved ones. Always allow yourself to feel. So, I wanted to bring that up because, like I said, I had that issues, in the past. I mean, I'm getting much better. I'm much better with opening up my feelings and making sure that letting it go. Because, when you kind of take some things, like keep things in you, it could be a bothersome on your body. I mean, it could be health wise, mind, spirit, and soul, and physical. So I tell people, especially men, and I'm not trying to pick out the men, but this happened. I mean, I know a lot of men, they'll be like, I'm a man. I'm not going to feel, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to do this. Okay, we get it. First of all, you have to prove that you're a man. If you're a man, you're a man. Period. When you have to go into the whole thing, I'm a man, man. I know you're man, man. I know you're alpha man. Whatever. But you have feelings just like everybody else. And you have to express that. You got to let it go. If it be, hollering, go outside, maybe out the door, just scream for a minute, come back and say, whew, that felt good, I released. You have to have that release some type of way. That's all I'm saying. Now, it's up to you how to do the release, but you have to release your feelings so you can move forward. And I'm going to give you an example real quickly before I bring up Miss Queen Laura, is that yesterday, I want, like every day, how people be like, oh, I gotta be, you're happy every day. You're not happy. Sometimes you might not be happy every day. Sometimes you might be dealing with some stuff and you're working through it. And that's okay because we're human. It happens. So yesterday I was having some issues, some challenges, and wasn't feeling too good about it. In fact, I was really pissed off. I'm just gonna be honest. I was really pissed yesterday. And I had to say to myself, okay, Barbara, either you're gonna, just let this linger on and don't really say nothing and kind of be yourself, or just say, I gotta let this thing go. And as soon as I said I gotta let it go by either yelling or talking it out or, crying or whatever the case may be. But like I said, it depends on how you let it out. That's when you start feeling a little bit better because you released it. You released it. So it's so important to do that because when you, like I said, when you keep it in and it festers inside of you, eventually it's going to come out later on. Later on, it's going to come out even worse than it could have came out at the beginning. I have kept things, back in the past, I have kept things in for years and years. And then when it finally came out, it was ugly. It was a lot of, you talking about crying, it was a lot of crying, screaming, whatever, because I was holding a lot of stuff inside. So I want to make sure that you all understand, don't let, whatever happens, whatever it is, bad, ugly, whatever, good, let out those feelings. You owe it to yourself to do that because you want to be healthy in all manners of your life. And you got to just let it out. You got to say to yourself, I just got to let this out. And then when you're talking, if you got to talk to somebody, make sure that you are talking to the right individual that's going to be there to help you through it. Not sit there and be a partner with you. And what I mean by that, you don't need a partner. Like if you're already sad and upset or depressed or whatever, and then somebody comes in and they're like, yeah, I know what you mean because I feel the same way. And I don't know what I'm going to do either. So now now it's not just you. Now they're coming into your circle. Now you're both in the same boat. So at least find somebody that is that can go outside the box and say, okay, I'm here for you. I'm listening to you, or I can give you some advice. What do you want me? What do you want me? I'm serving you right now. That's what they should be saying. Not so much of, yeah, because I had big issues yesterday too, and I'm just messed up. So you don't need, that's why I said it's so important to understand the people that are around you that can help you grow, that can help be there, have your back. So with that said, that's my little take on see, I gave you 2 inspirational moments today, too. So now that that's there, we are going straight to our Miss Queen Laura Armstrong. She comes with the leadership and the communication skills to make us think. So now what I want you to do, I'm going to ask, I don't want to tell, but I want to ask. Take a piece of paper out and a pen so you have take some notes. Because you're going to be some good notes. So I'm asking nicely to do that. So we're gonna go right into Laura and let's build some tools and some skills today. So here she comes.
Hey everybody, Laura Armstrong here. Welcome to today's segment of Leadership with Laura. I am your leadership and communication expert, and today I thought we would talk about something in leadership that, let me just adjust my background there a little bit. Okay. Yes, I have a fake background, but boy, it makes my life a lot easier, I'll tell you that. I want to talk about old and new habits because as human beings, habits are just the way that we run our lives. They are things that we do every day, that we create every day, that give us purpose sometimes in what we do. And what we need to look at every once in a while, more often than not, actually, is, are what we doing serving us? Is it serving us properly? Is it contributing to our outcomes? Is it contributing to ourselves? And finally, is it contributing to others? So today, I'm going to, at the end of my talk today, give you a little exercise to do that's going to give you a bit more clarity on the habits that are serving you and the ones that aren't, and give you a little bit of a tip about how to get rid of what's not serving you. Okay. But what I want to start with today is talking about habits of highly effective entrepreneurs. And, these are some that I use myself. These are some that I've seen others use. And really, I think I've talked about this before. Habits are kind of like what you decide that you like about what I talk about today. It's like shopping for shoes. And ladies, you know what I'm talking about. So you can go in and shop for shoes, try on 50 pairs of shoes, and how many do you leave with? Probably one, maybe two, possibly none, right? So it's all about the choice when you go shopping for shoes. And that's literally how your life is, right? It's all about the choices you make, what fits for you, what you want to take home, and what you want to integrate into what you're doing. And all of this are the habits that you create around what you do. Okay. So I'm going to go through some highly effective habits that highly effective entrepreneurs use. So why is effectiveness essential for success? Because in each and every decision-making process, effectiveness plays a central role. You don't do something just because it's like, someone told me to do this, or it looks really good, or maybe it'll work. Effectiveness comes down to producing desired results. And that's what it's really about. So the most effective entrepreneurs have mastered effectiveness because it makes them work smarter, not harder, right? And that's what you want to be doing. You want to be eliminating the unnecessary effort and wasted time. Success cannot happen with any consistency when it's approached in a lazy, haphazard, or hit and miss fashion. And I got to say, I don't really know too many of those people, because all the entrepreneurs I know are driven to succeed. But sometimes they just have the wrong habits in place. So the habits that I'm going to talk about today may resonate with you, they may not. But take what you need and move forward with it, okay? So the most effective entrepreneurs do not entertain ease or disorganization as a part of their decision-making process. They make sure to be detailed, organized, and fully prepared before executing on any goal or plan. Now, in a perfect world, that would work every single time. I struggle with organization and structure because it's not my code, right? It's not my personality type. So I really feel like it's something that has to be learned for me. For others, it comes way more naturally. Or the other option to that is get someone to help you with it where that's their genius and not yours, right? So live in your genius, but be flexible to learning other things, okay? Here are some highly effective habits that you can practice to stay in the flow of the positive energy and movement and create those habits that are really going to serve you. So the first habit is being visionary. What does that mean? So the most influential entrepreneurs spend a significant amount of time in their heads thinking and visioning. Where do I want this to go? What can I do to create this? How is it going to happen? What is my legacy here? They are naturally innovative and crave being in the constant process of discovery. I am always creating things. When I'm talking to people, I'm thinking, how can I help them? Or maybe I should do this. And lately I've had this plan that I've been forming in my head about how I could create some sort of I can't even explain it because it's in my head. Some sort of like a place where people can come and get services for what they need. And it would be the kind of go-to spot, right? So that's kind of what I've been thinking of lately, like how I could serve people the best. And it's kind of like an all-in-one place to get the experts that you need for what you're looking for. So you have to credit your imagination as your most powerful. Without your dream and your vision and your why, none of it would happen. And that all comes from your imagination. You cook it up because you know that you're good at something and that's unique to you and special to you. Okay. You've always dared to dream, to turn those dreams into reality. And whether or not you think it's a dream, it is. So own that. Okay. And as a leader, you're the one leading the pack in what you do because what you offer is unique and special to you. That's why people follow you. And don't forget that. Okay. To those who stand out from the pack and see no end to their creativity. And for me, it's like a tap I just can't shut off. For others, they struggle with it. So wherever you are in there is the perfect place you should be. You're not better or worse than anybody else. It's just where you are, right? And you can always work on these things, right? Being visionary takes work sometimes, right? The best part about it is when people naysay you. That should drive you to be like, I'm going to prove you wrong. But if you're willing to listen to those people and let them bring you down, then maybe it's not the correct vision for you and you need to tap into something else you're good at, okay? Visionary leaders immerse themselves in new ventures and do what they believe they can envision and achieve. And, they're really not a one and done type of person because that's just kind of transactional. So if you're really a leader that's moving to the next level, you're all about creating the interaction and the core experience and the relationship. And those are the great qualities of a successful leader. It's not just the one and done, right? Those are great. And sometimes it happens and there's no synergy there for anymore. But really, if you want to build, that's where you need to start. Okay. The next habit we're talking about is early risers. I'm not a big fan of the early riser club, but actually my body thinks it is, right? So it's been an interesting journey these last few years because, by 6, 7 a.m. I'm awake and I start, right? Some people get up at 3, 4 in the morning. Like that's just not happening with me. But whatever's good for you is exactly where you need to be. So effective entrepreneurs rise early, believing in the concept of the early bird gets the worm. I don't really believe that. I just get up because I have to, and I'm not going to lie there and stare at the ceiling for an hour when I could be more productive. So maybe you need to lie there and stare at the ceiling and just meditate. I don't know. But early rising gives you a start on the day. And let's think about this for a minute. If you sleep in till noon, which we all did as teenagers, I'm sure, you're missing half your day. That's what I think. What am I missing out on here if I sleep in for 3 hours? The day's almost done and I had a ton of stuff to do and now I don't have the time. Because time is really the one thing you can't get back here, right? So, early rising does have its bonuses, but just, what that means to you is very individual, right? So, some people prefer getting into their home office or their office before others. I know for me, I get a lot done first thing in the morning because my brain is fresh once I've had my coffee. And it gets them one step ahead of things that they had to get done. And also that works to create less stress on you. So, you're already getting stuff done early in the morning. So your deadlines aren't happening and you're not as stressed as reaching them as you normally would be if you started a couple hours later. So when the environment is quiet and free of distractions, you can accomplish work more efficiently and with a higher quality. And getting in early also frees up time for you to be fully present and in helping and collaborating with colleagues, okay? The next habit is being scheduled. This is a really effective habit. I've taken it on the last 5 to 10 years, and it has shaped and changed my leadership because I know exactly what's going on in my day and when it's happening. And of course, life comes along and throws things at you. That's normal. But you just have to go with the flow on that. But a lot of the time when I look at my day, if I want to schedule time off, I'm just not available, right? And I think a lot of us forget that. We control our own schedule. People don't control our schedule. So be really clear about that. So you can actually increase your efficiency as a leader by putting work first and socializing second within your work day, if that's something that you want to focus on. So if you really want to get things done, be smart about who you book your appointments with, what you're going to discuss, and what your outcomes are. Okay, this is going to drive your leadership and your business forward. So socializing is very important and very life-giving. But they see value in going around, being around people, not just for the human interaction and feelings of interconnectedness, but because being around others reduces stress and innovation, increases innovation. You get ideas from people. So make sure that though you're putting your work first, that your socializing component is strong. You're going after hours, or you're taking time off, or you're going to lunch with somebody. Even if it's a client, you're socially interacting with them, right? This is a key part of your scheduling. You cannot be an autonomous all the time, a machine who just works. It doesn't work that way. It can't work that way, right? You will just burn out and die, right? So that balance is what you're looking for. And smart leaders, successful leaders, that's a habit that they understand, right? And I know you guys understand this. So because you can successful leaders organize their lives in this way, it guarantees that not only will you operate more efficiently, because you do have that social and that work part of things balanced out, you'll operate more efficiently in any environment you choose to work in, okay? The next habit that I really like to talk about is sleep. One of my favorite things. One of the things that a lot of us don't feel we get enough of. Especially in these trying times, we're so much more stressed. We have so much more on our mind. Money is on our mind. Fear is on our mind. Uncertainty, all of these things that we talk about, right? So successful entrepreneurs never undervalue the importance of sleep. They desire to be sharp, emotionally available, and on the ball in all areas of their career. Is this resonating with you? Because if it is, are you getting enough sleep is my question to you. There's a proven and well-documented body of evidence on the bidirectional relationship between sleep and stress. And I think that's a given. We all know about that, right? So a lack of sleep creates an emotional reactivity and decreases a lack of sleep creates an increase in emotional reactivity and decreases in frustration tolerance, which contribute to another night of poor sleep, right? So it's like this cycle you get into that you can't get out of. So you don't want to waste time being up at night stressing about how poorly or ineffective you did something, or you dealt with people during the day, right? If poor sleep patterns are left unmanaged, effectiveness becomes impossible and everything starts to shut down on every level, right? So, the other thing too, your work isn't going to go anywhere. You're actually stagnating yourself, right? So carve out the necessary time for sleep and make sure. So for me, I take a half hour before I'm in bed. I'll read my book, or I'll meditate, or I'll do something where I'm not engaged in my brain and it doesn't take a lot of effort to do, right? I'm not thinking about the next day. I'm not thinking about problems that I have. I'm not thinking about, oh my God, what about my deadline? I am shutting everything down. And I've found that this helps me to drift off and have a deeper sleep. Now, the other part of that is you have to check if you have sleep apnea where you stop breathing. This I find is extremely common nowadays. So this can also contribute to really bad nights of sleep. You're not hitting that REM and therefore your brain isn't rested and therefore your body's not rested. So just a little side note there for you. Okay. So I can't stress the importance of sleep as a good habit. There are several different natural remedies you can get to help you drift off, valerian root, melatonin, all those kinds of things. That will work with your body synergistically, not as a drug, but get you to drift off into that space of being relaxed and sleeping deeply. Okay. All right. The next habit I want to talk about is simplicity, which I love. Creating simple routines helps avoid taking on workloads which are beyond what you can reasonably tackle, right? You're most productive in achieving your desired results when you aren't overwhelmed with stress. So keeping things simple is a key part of this, right? So the way to do this is to set limits around yourself or boundaries, right? And I talk a lot about this because people see boundaries as like, no, I'm not doing that. But boundaries are whatever actually works for you, right? And setting boundaries with yourself is where you have to start way before you start setting them with others. So what can you actually manage? What can you not? What are you the expert at? What do you need help with? And asking for help doesn't mean that you're stupid or that you're incompetent. It just means it's not your genius. And tap into someone who's got that genius, because you have your own genius. And really, this is a mindset of a habit here. When you start to keep things simple, it means you actually become way more powerful in what you do, right? So you're going to worry less about pleasing others and more about producing high quality work and creating leadership and your business at the level that you want, right? Because if we worried about what everybody thought, we never get anything done. Remember, the more you start to get noticed, the more people will say good things, the more people will say bad things. Don't feed into any of it. Thank everybody, but realize that it's just about you. And if you can actually keep that mindset simple about that, it's just their interesting point of view, right? So the limits you place on what you do as far as boundaries actually gives you a sense of control over what you're doing, your control of your workload, how much you're able to perform every day efficiently and effectively to build your business and your leadership. Okay. Now there's another one here that is journaling. And I don't really journal because to me, I'm an action personality type. I'm more of a doer, but some people love journaling because they find it really, that habit every day gives them a release. That's how they express themselves. So it's one of the ways that you can also increase effectiveness it's to create the habit around writing in a journal. So put pen to paper, write down everything that's important to you, write lists, goals. You can vent your frustrations. Writing is proven to have numerous benefits, and it requires engagements of both sides of the brain, which is kind of cool, making brainstorming or your problem-solving process more effective, more complete, and also more innovative. And that's where that creativity I first talked about comes in, okay? So it also can unwind your emotions caused by stress or conflict by providing a much needed disconnect from the daily grind. Okay, I'm just going to take 10 minutes and write in my journal, right? Of consistently talking, emailing, taking calls, and other distractions that come along, as well as electronic devices. So highly effective entrepreneurs value the process of writing, which I do love writing. I'm just not a big journaler because it puts them in touch with more existential aspects of their life, reminding them of the bigger picture of what they're striving for, of what their leadership is at this level, or what their business is going to look like at that level. Okay. Next habit I'm going to talk about, and we're getting close to our time here, is being flexible. This is a great habit to have. It's also one of the ones most people struggle with because it means you're giving up control of things, right? And we all want to control what goes on in our lives. Well, let me tell you, that's an illusion because things are going to happen regardless if you're there or not, right? So as important as routine is, the most effective entrepreneurs understand it's imperative to be flexible enough to pivot on demand in response to unforeseen or changing circumstances. Let's look at that for a minute. So we've all done some sort of pivot over the last, let me make sure I'm in screen here when I do quotes, over the last couple of years, whether we wanted to or not, because the circumstances in the world have forced us to tap into who we are and the extra things we didn't even know that we could offer others to contribute to their lives. Okay. So, the other part, what else do I want to talk about that? I was on a thing there. Okay. So being flexible when you're changing circumstances is really key. And it's hard because you have a certain way of thinking about things, and that to you is your right way, when actually you can embrace change on an easier level. Because think about the word change. when you hear it, most people's back goes up, because in your life, when changes happened, something horrible has pretty much been attached to that. So something horrible would happen, and then you had huge change in your life. And that always turned out good most of the time, right? But what if you could actually embrace change on a minute-to-minute basis? I always work at this. You know, when something comes up, I'm like, okay, let's see what's going to happen here. I'm not like, oh my God, seriously, right? So, but I've learned to get into the habit of that, and it's something that's taken me a while. So what you want to be asking yourself is, how easily can I embrace change to see what more success and in my business and leadership would look like for me? That's a good affirmation you can use. So feel free to steal it. So routines that you live by are simple by design, because simplicity is the easiest way to maintain no matter what your circumstances, okay? Make it a habit to only need the bare essentials, and being flexible is, exactly where this is going to go. This is going to, increase your productivity, because it's going to set your work up, and communication doesn't require anything special for you to be effective, whether you're at the office or on the phone or on email or whatever it is, right? Make sure that you're flexible, be willing to see what other people have to say, and actually adapt what you need to do and let go of those controls to see what is possible, okay? The next habit I'm going to talk about is curiosity. Effective leaders are always curious. Sometimes it gets you in trouble. So boredom is the killer of effectiveness, which is why the most successful entrepreneurs are never bored. They happily spend endless hours doing what they love to do, working. They make it a habit to be open and curious about everything. I am always asking questions. Start asking more questions. Create more curiosity around things that may even not relate to you, but you never know where it's going to go, okay? So this curiosity will keep you asking questions and generating ideas for what your next steps are going to be, whether it's working with a coach, a mentor, or whether it's your peer group or people that you talk to, right? All of this is going to generate that curiosity and ideas. I love listening to others because I never know what kind of nuggets I'm going to get out of them. And as a leader, that makes me highly effective because I know they have something to contribute to me. They probably don't even realize it half the time. Curiosity is just another aspect which contributes to your effectiveness and your success. And it's the difference between average success and great success. So when you're not as curious, you're kind of set in what you do and it's good. So I'm just going to keep going along that path. But if you're like, what else is possible here? Maybe if I did this, I could do that. Or if I did this, this would show up, right? So being curious about how things work and how they can contribute to your business and your leadership is super key. Okay. Average people tend to stop working when they run out of creative energy, while highly effective entrepreneurs have radically different approach in that they never stop generating ideas or paths to follow. And a couple things that I'm quickly going to mention here before we wrap up. So a couple of extra habits that you can write down here are about really successful entrepreneurs are they have hobbies. Okay. Entrepreneurs ignore the haters. We already talked about that. They know how to stay motivated. They manage their time well. They exercise, whether it's their mind, their body, their soul, whatever that is on whatever that level is for you. They're team players because it's never about you guys, okay? They find me time, self-care time. They're healthy, okay? They take care of themselves. They wake up early. We talked about that. They ask questions. We just talked about that. And lastly, and most importantly that I want to cover today is entrepreneurs take action. So you can do all those other steps and all those other habits, but unless you step into action, nothing is going to happen. And if you're the type of person who does a lot of manifesting, that's great. Manifesting keeps creating and creating, creating. But what you need to do here to add in the extra secret sauce is actualize things. So manifesting and actualizing have to work together for things to show up in your life on this earth. Okay? However that shows up. Okay? You can't just have manifesting. You got to have actualizing. Okay? So my to-do for you guys for this week, yes, I have one, is I want you guys to write a list. So you're going to get a piece of paper and you're going to put line down the middle. And on one side, it's going to be, you're going to title it old habits. The other side is going to be new habits. So on the side with the old habits, you're going to write down all of your habits, everything you do, whether it's from getting up and brushing my teeth in the morning to, once a week I go buy my lottery tickets, whatever it is. Or, once a week I check in and I do my pod on the Diamond Factor experience with Barbara Beckley. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go down all those old habits and you're going to put a yes and a no beside each one. Yeses are things you want to keep and are serving you and are contributing to the outcomes that you're creating in your life. No's are things that are not contributing to you, wasting your time, holding you back, and are heavy in your life. And they're not creating change and abundance. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take all those yeses and you're going to move them into the new habits column. Okay. Now, once they're in the new habits column, underneath all of those, you're going to write in all the new habits that you're going to be installing in your life. So once a week, I'm going to go for my, 3 times a week, I'm going to go for my hour walk. I'm going to spend more time doing this. I'm going to add this to my business every week. I'm going to do this. It doesn't have to be a weekly thing. It can be once a year, once a lifetime, whatever you want. But make sure that you've got that new list of habits, and that's where you live from now on, because you're done with the stuff that doesn't serve you and you're focusing on what does. So that's our show for today. I hope you've had some fun working with me. I've given you some great habits that you can step into as a successful entrepreneur. And I know you all have it in you. You all are extremely effective and engaging and awesome entrepreneurs who are stepping into the next level of your business. So that's my show for today with Leadership with Laura. You can contact me if you have any questions, comments, or concerns at laura@leadershipwithlaura.com. Next week, we're going to be talking about mindset, a great conversation, because there's so much involved in that. And I want to teach you guys how to shift your mindset, but recognize what mindsets are serving you and what aren't. And you need this for your leadership. All right, everyone, that's it for this week. I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.
I'm hanging on your every word, the love inside, I feel it burn. I've never felt this way before. I've had a taste, now I want more. So here we are, just you and me. I'm overwhelmed when you touch me. You talk so sweet, I hear the sound, 'cause when you do, my feet won't touch the ground.
Well, if you didn't have your pen and paper, I'm just going to go straight to it. Then your head was in the sand and you just missed out on some awesome information from the Queen Laura. I mean, I was sitting there taking notes. I said, okay, first of all, I got to get my list together for next week, the old and the new habits. And I was like, ooh, that's going to be exercise. It's going to be an interesting exercise for me. I was like, oh boy. So that's good already, because this is awareness. See, it's all about awareness of yourself. And then ask questions. I mean, this was awesome. Do you have hobbies? I was thinking about that. I said, yeah, what hobby do I have? Except always doing the show and everything else. That's not really a hobby, And I was like, I said, I got to really look into that. I'm glad that she mentioned that. And then to have me time, exercise, time management. I mean, everything so good. And then, team player. It's not about you. People, if you're a leader and you're all of a sudden you're thinking about you already went down the wrong path. I'm going to tell you right now, you need to revamp and look at the whole thing about leadership. And then, she said the ultimate that I'm always thinking of all the time. Take action. Take action. We can sit there and list stuff forever. I always tell people, you can list stuff forever, but if you're not doing the next part of it by taking action, then it's just going to sit there on a list somewhere in the dust with dust on it. Because believe me, yesterday I was cleaning out some things and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that list. I remember that list somewhere tucked away somewhere under some other papers, magazines, and everything else. Shame on Barbara. Shame on Barbara. Because there was some things on there that I was really supposed to do. And I didn't even do it because I didn't do the next part of it. And that's take action. Take action. You have to move the needle. You have to move the needle. So thank you, Queen Laura. I really appreciate you so much. You always bring some information that really helps us move. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I always say. Be around the people, the individuals that can help you move upward, that can help you elevate in what you're trying to do. I always tell people, if you're always around the people, either if you're around people that's going to be negative and stuff, either you're going to bring them up or they're going to bring you down. And we don't right now, this time and age, just all this time that we don't have. I mean, we got to take our time wisely. We don't have time for people to be bringing us down. I always tell a person, if you're in a certain situation and I need to help you bring you up, then I'll do, I'm there for you. But if you're considering going to pull me down, then I'm going to have to leave. I had to make that decision. That's boundaries. That's where boundaries come in at. I just say, I love you from afar. I always tell people, I love you from afar. I pray for you from afar. But I can't get into that mix because there's a thing I need to do. There's people out there that need help. We need to help others, and we don't have that time to be, people's like all that, whining, complaining, everything else. I do it too, but I don't let it affect other people. That's the part that's going to be a problem. So make sure that you're around these wonderful, wonderful experts like Laura and Barry and Marty, and I don't want to miss anybody, and Neri, and Tracy and Trish. Yeah, I named everybody. No, I don't want to leave anybody out. All these fabulous experts that comes on this because, like I said, they don't have to do this. They have a business. So with that, I just want to say thank you for coming to the Diamond Factor Experience Show today with Barbara Beckley and experts. And we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we have, usually on Fridays, I go into my Diamond Factor Spotlight interviews vault. And I pull some wonderful, inspirational women that I have interviewed one on one with. And I play it through the recordings on Fridays. So tomorrow, but I won't be doing that tomorrow because tomorrow I am still going to be honoring some veterans. Yeah, I slipped it into June. I slipped it into June. So that's what I'm going to be doing on tomorrow. I'm so excited about that. And, just hearing their stories, hearing why they joined and how they just represent our just United States, and just, saying, look, I'm going to put my life to the side to make sure that they're defending our world here. So with that, I will see you tomorrow. And remember, have your diamond factor shine. That's your PPD. That's your purpose, your passion, your drive, your gifts, your talents are so important. Let it shine for not just yourself in your life, but for others, because they need you. They need you. Each and every individual, they need you to move forward in their life. And I will see you on tomorrow. Take care.